Okay, so mandatory OTAs are here and James Bradberry's changing positions. Except unfortunately, that may have been cut short. Meanwhile, Kelee Ringo is starting to hit his stride and the defense continues to dominate with another takeaway at practice. However, there's one competition that's heating up after Mekhi Becton was moved to guard. But why was he getting first team reps and what are his chances of starting over Tyler Steen? Let's talk about it. But first, let's run it. What's up, guys? Alright, Eagles OTAs are back, and this time it is mandatory, as the Birds were at the NovaCare complex for the first mandatory minicamp in Philadelphia since 2019, which was also the first time we've seen James Bradberry on the field this offseason, who, with me saying that, has obviously still not been traded. And in fact, it sounds like he could change positions to safety, something Nick Sirianni has really high hopes for.
His versatility, Martin. He's been, he's able. He was able to do a couple different things last year. Had played his majority of his career at corner, and then was able to do some things at the dime and some things at the nickel. Some things at the corner, and now he's working some of the safety stuff, which you'll see today. So that is, I'm excited about that and his opportunity to be able to. You've seen a lot of good corners in this league. I guess the first guy that comes to my mind, Charles Woodson. He went from elite corner to being an elite nickel to being an elite safety. I mean that. And so I'm excited about that for James, that he's able to do more.
Okay, look, I can appreciate the whole glass half full approach, except come on, JB's not Charles Woodson. I mean, everyone knows that, but just because JB had one All-Pro season doesn't mean he's in the category of a guy who earned 8 All-Pros, 9 Pro Bowls, was a 2-time NFL interceptions leader, and has the most consecutive seasons with an interception return for a touchdown of 6. And then obviously you have to be a special player to make the Hall of Fame. By the way, no, I'm not saying that I believe Sirianni thinks that James Bradberry is a Charles Woodson or is going to make the Hall of Fame or anything crazy like that. And let's be honest, you have to be able to tackle as a safety. So even if you take away all the other frustrations about JB, do you really think he's the right answer back there?
No, don't like that.
Realistically, Sirianni's probably just keeping up the positivity in case, oh, hey, there's a team that trades or they need some depth and actually you have something worth value. Although depending on what happened during the warm-up, someone may not want to. As Ashlyn Sullivan shared, JB was doing warm-up drills backwards and then just fell down before heading into the medical tent. Which at the time of this recording, there's no indication of exactly how bad the injury was. Yet the fact he came back out without his helmet and sat off the rest of practice might be all the indication we need. Now, I do just want to pause because just because I give JB so much flack and hate and everything else, there's never a time to wish injuries on anyone, so prayers up that everything's okay. Again, JB at safety just feels like a stretch, but I suppose we'll see just how serious the Eagles are in the future. However, speaking of changes, Kellen Moore continues to push the envelope with the offense, as Devontae Smith is really excited for the bigger differences, especially citing all the motion and movement that they didn't get to do last year. For real, we've talked about it quite a bit, but Kellen Moore just makes things fun for the receivers. Remember, even Dallas's CeeDee Lamb shared that AJ and Smitty are going to love playing in more systems because of the creativity and ease he makes it for pass catchers. Then also, while I brought up Lamb, this feels like a good time to mention the whole criticism that Smitty and his agent got from former Eagles executive Joe Banner, saying the Slim Reaper should axe his agent for completely misreading where the wide receiver market was headed. And fine, when you objectively look at the market for Justin Jefferson getting $140 with $110 million guaranteed, along with Amon-Ra St. Brown coming in at $30 million per year, and heck, even Miami's Jalen Waddle getting as much guaranteed money as Smitty's total extension, that's a fair argument. Except like Smitty said before, there's not a better place to be than Philly, so he's not really worried about all the recent contracts.
Nah, man. Nah, you can't be counting the pockets of others. I'm where I want to be. This is where I wanted to be. And, at the end of the day, it was still life-changing for me. Those guys that have got their deals, they deserve it. Great players and great people. And, at the end of the day, we're all blessed.
Devontae is literally the definition of team first. And I know this is probably a drop in the bucket, but I want to do something to support Smitty and show some love, which is why I'm going to be giving away a Devontae Smith meet and greet ticket to his celebrity softball tournament on June 29th to one of my subscribers during my Friday night live stream. For those counting, yes, we'll do that and give away the Breadman's jersey then too. But come on, hearing things like that from Smitty just make me thankful for his mindset. At the same time, it would have been perfectly acceptable and understandable if he wanted to maximize his contract like Haason Reddick, who apparently hasn't even shown up to Jets camp at all, with head coach Robert Saleh saying, "I have no idea why."
I just wanted to make sure you knew that we did start at the usual time this morning. Yeah, it isn't a half day or anything like that.
Okay, we all know why. But it's not like Haas hasn't been putting in the work or won't be ready for the season. However, hopefully this one works out for the Birds since Howie Roseman decided to go with Bryce Huff and move on from Haason Reddick. And it is worth bringing up that the new Agent Zero said he's been learning Fangio's system, and while it's very different from New York's scheme, he's comfortable doing whatever's asked from him, including getting involved in the passing game, just like the other New York edition, and Saquon Barkley echoed the same. Plus, even though it's not Dallas, stealing Saquon from New York has all kinds of benefits.
Sometimes you see Giants fans around here with the, being so close. And they give me a good, like, hey, go Giants. And I'd typically let it go. But if the guy gets me good enough, I usually say, got your best player.
See, that's what I want Sirianni there for. Okay, I'm joking. But thankfully, the creativity of getting all the playmakers involved in the offense is up to Kellen Moore.
I think Kellen's doing an awesome job leading the offense. I think he's doing an awesome job in front of the room, out in the field. Really pleased with Kellen. He's as advertised and excited about the direction we're going and the work that they're putting in on the offensive side. Really excited about the where we are as an offense. Have gotten a lot of good reps. I mean, our reps are up from where they've been the last couple years. We're actually getting an extra week, obviously here, but even if you compare 2 weeks of last year and 2 weeks of this year, it's a lot more. It's a lot more reps. So. Just again excited about some of the things we're doing, some of the new tweaks. Where there's times we'll have something that's a new tweak that I've said it to Kellen probably a handful of times. Like, man, I really like that. I really like the way that looks, and obviously not going to get into exactly what that is, but just again, Kellen has a brilliant offensive mind, has a great unique way of explaining it to his coaches and to the players. And just, again, like I said, really excited about where we are. And some of those tweaks are really awesome and looking forward to, seeing them as this practice goes today and then as the year goes.
Great. That's exactly what we want to hear. Although I'm with those of you who might be feeling like we haven't seen that yet. Yes, even in the extremely limited sample size of OTAs. As the starters for 7-on-7s were A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Paris Campbell, and Saquon Barkley. And then for the defense, Fangio went with Slay and Kelee Ringo on the outside, while Avonte Maddox manned the slot, and the starting linebackers were, once again, Devin White and Zack Baun. And it didn't take long for the defense to make its presence felt, as Jalen Hurts was intercepted over the middle by Devin White after the ball was initially deflected by Reed Blankenship. Now look, I hear you about the whole turnover situation and Jalen Hurts and the alarms and everything else there. However, on the positive side, and I've said this many times, we got like 4 or 5 interceptions over the middle of the field at this point, which I know all of us are for that, especially after not getting anything from the defense in that area last year. Also, even though it's a small sample size, it just goes to show that Fangio is the master of disguise and not afraid to throw in some interesting looks. For example, like Brandon Legoutten mentioned, at one point during 7-on-7s, the Eagles had 4 cornerback look, with Slay and Ringo on the outside and Avonte Maddox and Quinyon Mitchell on the inside. Oh, but it didn't stop there, as Martin Frank shared that Q eventually took first-team reps at nickel when the squad started 11-on-11s. Let me just say that's a good thing. No, I don't want Q actually playing there at the slot. However, it keeps up this whole versatility dynamic that Fangio continues to talk about. However, while lots of guys are getting those reps, it's noteworthy to hear that Nakobe Dean didn't get a single first-team rep during initial 7-on-7s. As the DC continues to show a lot of belief in Devin White, which isn't too surprising, but the whole Zack Baun hype is without a doubt real.
I've been playing inside backer for 4 years. Like, I feel like I can do a lot of different things, and there's no disappointment. Like, in Vic's scheme, there's always opportunities to rush the passer from inside and do a bunch of different cool stuff. So, no, I'm chilling.
By the way, Baun also mentioned that he's willing to do whatever, and he's been getting tips from TJ Edwards, and then he's also going to reach out to Andrew Van Ginkel this summer to get some more insight on Fangio's defense. Plus, it's fair to say linebacker coach Bobby King is optimistic in Baun's future, revealing that he had a scouting visit back in 2020 before the draft and was impressed by Baun's knowledge for the game. So kind of cool to come back full circle. Anyway, another impressive guy was Kelee Ringo with a second-year corner breaking up a deep ball to Paris Campbell, once again showing really good ball skills. And honestly, he might have had the best day out of anyone, with Andrew Dejean sharing that he had some competitive reps with A.J. Brown and blanketed John Ross at least once on a deep shot down the sidelines. I know it's a given from everyone, but I love seeing these plays made by the corners. Like Isaiah Rodgers, for example, who was a standout again, albeit on the second team for this practice, even after getting beat on the line by Joseph Ngata, because he was able to take advantage of his 4.2 speed to catch up and then break up the pass. Oh yeah, and technically, he almost intercepted that pass from Kenny Pickett as well, which is funny because while I believe new DB coach Christian Parker is going to significantly make this secondary better, his knowledge of Isaiah Rodgers peaked when watching film of him a few years ago.
I remember when we were getting ready to play the Raiders 2 years ago, and he had a really good play on a comeback against Davante Adams when we were about to play them. And so I noticed his movement. I didn't really know who he was. I kind of researched him a little bit. So we really feel good about just his long speed and his short area quickness. And he's been as advertised so far. He still got a long way to go, of course. But he's very hungry and grateful for this opportunity, getting the game taken away from you and then coming back and having an opportunity like this. He's very grateful for it. And you can kind of see it in his everyday demeanor. So I'm looking forward to keep working with him.
Obviously, Rodgers isn't the only one making a difference. And I would argue that CJ Gardner-Johnson will end up making one of the biggest impacts in terms of guys playing with confidence on the back end, as multiple media members noticed his presence helping the corners with assignments and calling out looks. And B-Doc is a believer as well.
I love his versatility. I love his mean streak, absolutely, but I love his versatility. But now on that defensive side of the ball, if you look at the draft, they have a whole bunch of guys, in my opinion, that I call chess pieces, that they can move around the field and they can do a lot of different things. In today's NFL, you need versatile guys. You can't just have guys that can do one thing. They have to be multiple to be able to do a lot of different things, because offenses throw so much on the field. So CJ is one of those guys that if you surround him with the right, individuals, like that can be an absolutely dynamic group under Vic Fangio. I believe this is going to be a much improved defense, much improved.
Maybe not surprising that it felt like another day that the defense very clearly won. But keeping up with wins, it was really encouraging to get the report from Jeff Kerr that Sidney Brown is looking good, even getting in sprints on the sideline as he continues to push to be ready to go by the start of the season. Yet if not, Avonte Maddox is looking likely to be the reserve safety, and then perhaps Cooper Dejean would slide into the slot.
He's been playing inside and outside, and he's definitely been able to had a mental capacity to learn both spots, and, that's encouraging to see. Kind of reminds me of me when I came in here as a rookie, just learning in both spots and getting moved around. And, I'm like I said, I'm excited to see what he does. He's definitely athletic, definitely smart, and, he's definitely been playing well in the nickel spot.
Again, the versatility of this squad is just insane. However, it wasn't all defense, with John Ross being one of the notable standouts on the other side of the ball. After keeping up his speed, quickness, and consistency that he's flashed over the past couple practices, so definitely an encouraging sign from one of the most likely backup options on the outside at this point. Now sure, Sirianni did mention that literally every wide receiver on the roster is having a good camp, although we're not even in a training camp yet. But while the Rooks will eventually earn their reps, you gotta love seeing guys like Aniyah Smith and Johnny Wilson get some extra coaching on their technique from wide receiver coach Aaron Moorhead. And that's also what I love to see with Jeff Stoutland coaching up guard Mekhi Becton. Yes, you heard me right, guard Mekhi Becton. Like, that's not totally crazy because we had heard recent reports or kind of rumors and speculations that the Eagles were going to try out the former first-round pick at guard, but I won't lie, I doubted it at first, especially just thinking he's going to be a swing tackle and that's it. However, after hearing Lane talk about him, all bets are off.
Mekhi's, a huge guy, a lot of potential, and he's probably had one of the best off seasons here. He's played some guard at times. He's done really well, just a big, strong, powerful dude. So, I think he's going to help us a lot this year, whether he plays tackle or guard. But, a guy that big that can move that well, we definitely need him out there.
I think most of us realize the potential Becton has, plus who can't Stout turn into a successful lineman. But it was just the penalties and mental part of Becton's game that was the main concern, although Bryce Huff has been encouraged to see his former and current teammates' progress.
Mekhi's had a hard journey just dealing with injuries here and there, but he's here, he's healthy, he's leaned out a little bit, and he's ready to work. So I'm extremely excited to get to work with him this year and help us get better every day during practice.
By the way, Becton did end up getting the start at left guard due to Landon Dickerson having some personal matters to attend to, just for those wondering why he was actually playing guard. But either way, aside from the cornerback spot, this might be one of the biggest camp battles. After all, Philly just signed Houston's former second-round pick Max Sharping, who spent 3 seasons with the Texans while making 33 starts, albeit not playing great, but did end up finding a way onto the Bengals to serve as a backup the last few years before now ultimately ending up in Philly. And as Anthony DeBona pointed out, Sharping offers good veteran versatility, especially between both guard spots. Yet even though Mekhi Becton hasn't actually played that position, Stout is no doubt giving him a hard look. However, let's not get carried away because Tyler Steen is clearly the frontrunner at that position. And if you were doubting that originally, then you certainly shouldn't be anymore.
He's a bigger body. He's a bigger, like I always look at, like, Brandon Brooks to me is that is the person, that's who you're looking for. Ain't many of them around. That's who you're looking for. Size, length of arms, explosive power, all these things, lower body flex, all these things are like all into one. And it's like, holy cow, how do you find these? And so you're always comparing everybody, in my mind, I'm comparing them like to him. How do they, he has a little bit of that, like a lot of that actually. Tyler does. All
right, look, I'm not going to lie. Whenever I first heard that, I kind of just brushed it off, but then I went back and I was like, wait a second. Jeff Stoutland is comparing him to Brandon Brooks, and Jeff Stoutland doesn't just blow smoke for no reason. So I don't know. Long ways to go, and we'll see who wins out for the job, but it's definitely sounding like Mean Steen's the guy. Anyway, who are y'all going for the right guard spot, and who's been one of the biggest takeaways from OTA so far? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. This has been the Philly Special.